This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. Good morning, Ira. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well, sir. And for those who listen to this just on the podcast and didn't catch your previous segment, I do want to chime in because I try to be a man about all sports.
Oh, you are. That's right. You are.
If you asked me about Bennett,
by the way, you're one of the few writers that actually follows all sports, because I've known you for 30 years.
And I've done all sports.
Well, no, but not only that you've done, but dude, you're a real sports fan. I see that in you. You don't just follow for half-ass. You actually know your shit, whether it's soccer or hockey or tennis or whatever the hell. You know your shit, dude. That's why you could always do shows at QAM better than most writers out there, because, as you know, I'm not going to tell you to name names or anything, but when I get to talk sports with other writers from their outside of their beats, you kind of get to see that they're too busy, because it's really hard outside of a beat. That's the other thing, and I do sympathize with that. When you follow a beat, it really takes up all your time.
Consuming. It's absolutely consuming.
People like you and Jason Cole are fucking freaks, dude. You're freaks.
Like sports? Enjoy sports?
You're freaks. Because I could either one of you guys, I could have a conversation about any sport with you.
But I was going to say, before I came on, Big O was talking about the Panthers obviously going to be in a salary cap crunch in a hard cap league. And he was talking about Bennett, Ekblad, and Marchand if you only had to keep two of the three. And he was excising Ekblad. So just real quick, my thought is you excise Marchand for this reason.
Okay.
Teams that are winners and have shown they can deliver championship hopes to players will always be able to cycle back at the next trade deadline, buyout deadline, and find their player. So when you're talking about a third-line player who's obviously was a career first-line player, there will be another Marchand. And if you look at the history, Big O, of the Panthers, they always do this. They always find their guy. It's always a guy. So when you wind up in the offseason and they lose their players, we saw a whole bunch of Stanley Cup rings going to players who visited this year. They'll do it again. Bill Zito will do it again next year, because I'm not overstating it, but because of the no tax, because of the location of the team, and because just like the Heat with Birdman and others, the success, players will want to in February get away from their other team. And there is no league like the NHL that moves more players ahead of their contracts than the NHL. So there's going to be a player. So my thought is this: you have a guy like Bennett, who's just really become the heart of the team. Looks like he's going to win the Conn Smythe. You have a player like Ekblad, who's just been a lifer here, and that does matter because he bridges the generation. You'll get your next Marchand. There'll be another guy sold off. There'll be a JT Miller from Vancouver. There'll be someone else anyway. So my thought is, stay with what you have in this stability. You will find your guy at the trade deadline next year, and you'll have a better idea also of who it needs to be. Because just like you're always telling me, you bring back the 37-year-olds, eventually those 37-year-olds just get a little bit more hurt.
Yes, but and this is beautiful, because you're going to lead me into an absolutely awesome segue. Okay, first of all, the reason why I say Ekblad, and this is what happens on this show a lot, okay? I compartmentalize my emotions.
Fair.
And I don't fall in love with a player when I know that there's time to move on. And so Ekblad is a guy that had to serve a 20-game suspension for a PED. Okay. And this is a guy that's had injuries all throughout his career.
That's reasonable.
A shitload of time. I don't trust his body anymore. And the fact that he got caught taking PEDs at this point in his career scares the shit out of me. So what Marchand is giving me is much more priceless than what Ekblad can give me. And I can go find me another Ekblad, because like you said, Zito will get another guy. Get me another Ekblad. I don't know if I can just find another Marchand who fits so perfect with what they're doing. In a 2-year contract, he probably could be productive. Whereas Ekblad, I don't know.
Maybe after all those blizzards, Marchand doesn't fit anymore because he doesn't fit. So maybe he needs to look that way also. Look, it's a good
decision. That's what they do here. No, he's not going to be. He's not that.
I'm just saying.
My segue is because I have fun with you on the Carter Verhaeghe, a Tyler Herro thing, which I still have no idea why you keep picking Herro over Verhaeghe. But anyways, it is what it is. But now you have like fallen in love with Tyler because 1 year he stayed healthy. No, dude, I'm sorry.
It has to start somewhere, and you have to show it to me. And he did show it to you.
I'm not willing to roll the dice with him. First of all, I don't think he's the player I need. And second of all, he's an injury-prone player.
Okay,
so if I
Big O,
unload both guys and get picks, I'm doing it.
As we segue into our accurate Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report, my point to you is, and I think there's a compromise, even with the irascible Big O, is this. You don't have to extend Tyler Herro this season. You can wait till next summer. So I'm in full agreement with you on that. I am waiting till next summer. But if he gives me another 70-plus games, I think that's when I'll trust the turn. So I think they're in a good position with Tyler for this reason. You don't have to trade him now. He had a breakout offensive year, cusp of being an all-star. Show it to me again. Think about this point exactly 1 year ago, Big O. All Pat Riley said to Jimmy Butler is, God damn it, show up for work, and then we'll talk extension. And Jimmy Butler didn't show up for work, and Pat Riley proved prescient in that he didn't make that move. He waited. He saw Jimmy was not going to be an everyday player, and he moved him out for whatever assets he can get. Do the same with Tyler. But if Tyler Herro, and I think, Big O, you would come around. If Tyler Herro shows up for 75 games this coming season, carries the Heat at a near all-star level, helps them get to an actual playoff berth, I think you would have to be at least a little bit more open-minded.
I would have to see dog games. I don't think he's a dog.
Problem.
I need he scores, but he scores and it's not
at the critical times, at the clutch times. I get that.
I need a son of a bitch.
Give him a year. Let him.
Hardaway will cut your heart out if he has the opportunity, or Alonzo Mourning, or Ray Allen, or
he's young. He's a child. Give him time. Give him time. But Big O, for all the draft picks you want him to.
Wade was an SOB from day one. This is
you're talking about an all-time second best guard in NBA history, third best, fourth best.
And at another level, this is why the LeBron, Michael Jordan argument is so fucking ridiculous that you can never compare the two, because Michael was ice and was an assassin when he was a sophomore in college, whereas it took LeBron the sixth game in a Heat uniform against the damn Celtics to become that guy. And that's what I'm talking about. So I want my guy to be a son of a bitch right from the get-go.
And it's hard to find son of a bitches in the draft. And if you keep trading for draft choices, do you realize how fortunate the Heat were to get Tyler Herro late in the lottery and a player of his skill? That doesn't happen. There is a lot of other
guys happen like that. Like SGA, like how many? There's not a lot.
There's not a lot. So if you get a Tyler, you try to make it work, or at least you give it a chance. That's all I'm saying. My compromise to you is this. Go through this season, see how it plays out, and next June say, you know what, kid? You're not a max player. This is what you are, or else enjoy free agency. Maybe we waited too long and didn't get assets instead, which I know is what you want them to get. But I think you tried to collect usable pieces to get you somewhere. I still think Tyler can be that. Again, of the two, and I think I'm very much in the minority of this. If you're telling me, Ira, I want you to mind draft choices for the future, I'm moving Bam instead for one simple reason. This is a scoring league. You need offense. Offense for the Miami Heat has been incredibly hard to find. Look how hard it was to find for the Orlando Magic, to the point that they had to give up 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, who has never been an all-star, and likely never will be an all-star. Offense is hard to find. The Heat found it in Tyler. I want that tree to grow a little more. I want to see a little bit more. I think the Heat wait, Tyler waits, give me a season, decision next June to be revealed here on the accurate Pembroke Pines report. That's what I would do.
And the only thing worth mining Anyway, let's get back to this. All right. So I read, I believe it was the Stanley, that Phoenix is not asking for more than maybe a first rounder, a decent first rounder, and maybe a player or something. So the Heat becomes a player in all of this now, if that's really the truth. If it's not, because because he's going to be turning 37, they're not expecting multiple first rounders.
Pending free agent.
Before I ask you my main question, is there truth to this report?
Absolutely. It's not truth. You know, a lot of times, and there are some great national writers, but sometimes you pull back from these reports and you just say to yourself, that's just common sense. The guy is 37. He's not 32. He's at a different place than when he was with Brooklyn and they made the trade or leaving Golden State in free agency, number one. Number two, this is not Damian Lillard on the trade market still with 3 years left on his contract, where even if you're small market Milwaukee, I mean, the injury is one thing, but you know you were getting him for 3 seasons. This is a guy there's no player option. There's no right of first refusal or anything. This is a guy whose contract expires after this season. So you are not going to be an outside team and take a chance on an older player. This is not Kawhi going from the Spurs to the Raptors at a young age, hoping he stays. This is an old guy with an expiring contract. This is not the commodity value of even a Desmond Bain.
And he wants a 2-year, 30
years, about 120 or so, and he will get it wherever he goes. And you can mock all you want. Big O, Orlando Alzugaray, host of the accurate Pembroke Pines Report. Kevin Durant averaged 26.6 points per game last season. Kevin Durant stood 6th in the league in scoring average. If this was a typical job interview where you are not allowed to ask someone's age and you looked at his resume and what you did, you'd say to yourself, holy crap, that guy's available? Big O, 26.6 point per game scores do not come along that often. Again, look at what Orlando offered yesterday for Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain averages basically the same as, drumroll please, Bam Adebayo. 19 points, 18 points, and they paid all that for that. Sometimes I think you live in the short term if the right short-term player is there. I think this could be that case. 26. Can you imagine if the Heat last season had a 26.6 points per game scorer? So much would have changed for them.
I get it. If you're a Durant away from a title, then you do it. The Heat are nothing. Even with Durant, they're a middling team. They're not going anywhere. They're probably going to have to give up a player besides the pick.
Oh, absolutely. Jovic, I know who you're a big fan of. Hopefully not where, possibly. But Big O, I want to take you back to this. You're saying the Heat are not a contender, okay, even with Kevin Durant. No. You know who wasn't a contender this year for months and months and months in the East? Indiana Pacers. Yeah. And where are the Indiana Pacers as we tape this right now? They are 2 games away from winning a championship. This is the old puncher's shot.
I see a lot of balls, a lot of toughness on Indiana.
You know what? You add Kevin Durant and everyone's testicles will grow.
Dude, the Heat are a bunch of softies.
I think you add Kevin Durant and it changes the emboldenedness. Number one, it does that. But number 2, that's why when people go, why would Kevin Durant want to go to a middling team? You know why, Big O? Because they're in the East. And in the East, you don't need to be great. The Heat didn't need to be great with these same players just 2 years ago in the NBA Finals against Denver. You give yourself a chance. The Indiana Pacers are not a great team. Last year's Boston Celtics were a great, great team with Brown, with Tate, with Porzingis, with Holiday, with everything they had going on there. They were a great team. This is not a conference right now where you need to be great. You can give yourself an Indiana Pacers punchers-like chance. You know what, Big O? Again, you and I disagree. I kind of like to live my life in the moment.
I get it, but this is the question that I was going to ask you. The Heat are just trying to be relevant.
Always trying to be relevant.
They're trying to be somewhat relevant, but they're not trying to be a championship caliber team.
They want to be. They're trying to be.
Yeah, but this is not champion. I mean, it's so elementary. It's so easy to figure out. You're not championship.
Big O, who's great in the East now? Who's great in the East now? Who is the East equivalent of Oklahoma City or even like Denver?
Ira, winning the championship means you have to beat the East and the West, my friend.
Yes, but you have to get there.
It doesn't matter if you're the Dolphins in 1985 and Marino lights you up and you get out of your shitty conference because the NFC's the real conference and they hand you your ass. And it doesn't matter if you're the Heat and you get through and you get lucky that two of the teams, their stars are injured, and you get through the Celtics only to get trashed by Denver. So you can say, oh, at least we made the finals.
Let's see what the Pacers do.
I get it. The Heat have made the finals as a legitimate contender, and they've made the finals as an upstart that had no shot whatsoever. So I understand that. Now, if you want to go down that road of, well, it's the East, we might be able to get out of the East, but there's no chance you'll beat the West, then
never know till you know. Let's see what Indiana does. They're not great. They might. Let's wait and see.
Indiana is Indiana. They have to do things that way. They have no choice. They're not a free agent destination. They have not created that environment because you're Indiana. So they have to draft and trade their way like Utah does, like Cleveland does. Miami is a destination place, but unfortunately, they have failed to now create the avenues of the new system, which is draft picks and space. And because they don't have that, they have the place, but they don't have the space.
I agree with draft picks. I don't agree with space. This is not a free agency league. When you look every year at the players you think are going to become free agents, and then everyone are re-ups, including, I think, Luka Doncic at some point in August.
But it's nice to have that option too.
But it's if you want to collect draft choices to package draft choices, I have no qualms with that. However, the teams that have packaged draft choices, 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, God bless him. Where are the Knicks right now? I don't see them out there. Orlando, 4 first-round picks with Desmond Bane. We will see. So you could hoard what you want. But a lot of times that hoarding, you wind up with, Rudy Gobert. So you have to be careful also.
So what you're saying is since the Heat suck in the front office the last 10 years, giving them a bunch of picks, they don't know what they're doing anyway. So what the hell?
What I'm saying is that they maintain relevance through all kinds of weather, like our Gator fans would say. That's what I'm saying, that they've kept themselves there.
Listen, if you're stupid enough to trade for Terry Rozier and give away a first-round pick, you'll be stupid enough to
for Orlando.
And you'll be stupid enough to make the Desmond Bane move. So actually, you know what, Ira, you're right, and I'm wrong on this one. The Heat should stay status quo and go get Durant because they're too incompetent anyways to use the picks the right way.
No, because they can realize they can live in the moment and still have a future. I'm sticking with that.
Ira, they have no future, right? Like there's nothing here. Like they're going nowhere.
How many times have you said that over the years? How many times going into 2020, going into 23?
Years I've been saying it over and over. They're not going anywhere, and they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. That guy that coaches them makes it look so much better than what it really is, dude. He just makes it look way better. If you had a lesser coach, people would be screaming. They would be going crazy. I don't know, man. It's just they're desperate to just stay somewhat relevant. They don't care about it.
And enjoyable and competitive and giving themselves a chance, and God bless them.
I just don't. You've won championships. You're in tight. If you're the Dolphins, people hate hearing reset and all that because that's what you've been doing for 40 years. But if you're the Heat, dude, I have no problem you being boring for the next couple of years and resetting and all that kind of stuff. There's a better end to this than now.
And it has to be the right move at the right price. That's where I'll agree with you. So,
Ira, it will never happen if you don't put yourself in that position to be there.
But I'm saying even for a Kevin Durant, we were just talking about how the price likely has come down. Mark Stein reported it in his Substack. If it's the right price, if you're asking me, I am not one of those people who want to give up multiple first-round picks. I understand the value of those picks. I am not the person that wants to give up both Jovic and Ware. I understand having length and a rookie scale contract in the young player matters. Every trade is about the right price. Orlando has been panned far and wide in many places for giving up too much. The Knicks, for all their bravado of go New York, go, gave up too much for Mikal Bridges. What I'm saying, Big O, is this time around and next time around, make the right choice. And I still think more often than not they have. Yes, Terry Rozier, not very good. Did not do very well with that. The last few draft choices, very, very good. Offer the right price, for the right player. And if I could do that with one young prospect, one draft choice, or one heavily protected future draft choice, I go for it because I think it makes Bam better. I think it makes Tyler better.
Is this draft pick? What are we talking about? I don't know shit about this draft.
The draft pick at number 20, I want to get rid of anyway because you owe that pick to Charlotte for the great Terry Rozier trade. I want to protect my future more. You're right. This team right now is either going to go older with a veteran like Durant or you might as well hand it to the youth you already have now. Hand it to Ware, hand it to Jovic, hand it to Hagez, see what they have. You can't Pella Larson, one of your favorites. You have enough young players to develop. You can't be trying to develop 5-6 players at the same time. If you've noticed at the Sun Sentinel, I've really cut back on my pre-draft coverage because I don't want to be hyping all these number 20s and then telling you a week from now on our accurate Pembroke Pines report or the Heat won't draft at all. And like everyone's been reporting, all the names we typically hear coming through Miami, we're not hearing as many. I think they know the score also. They know this is not their year for draft. They've drafted a first-round pick 3 years in a row. That's so un-Pat Riley-like. Save them for the future. Have them. You still can have an option if you trade for a pick, this number 20 for the future, to have 4 first-round picks available to do an Orlando-like deal, to do almost a Knicks-like deal. You can have it both ways. God bless them.
All right, what else you got going on the Sun Sentinel, sir?
Well, it's like I said, I wrote a column today about how Durant, the price is down because he controls the cards. This is not Damian Lillard. I think this is legitimate. I spoke to a friend who I said, what do you think the odds are? Someone who's in the industry. And he said about 50-50. And I said, you know what? I kind of think it's about that space. I didn't think before. I said, what did you initially think? We both thought it's about 20%. So there is a chance. On the other hand, to sort of move to your point of this isn't the Heat's time, Orlando's going to be really good now with Desmond Bane because they needed the scoring. Suggs is healthy again. Wagner and Banchero weren't healthy for good chunks of last season. So to work in the Orlando Alzugaray space, you want to at least try to be competitive for home court in the first round. Well, when you look at it right now, you're looking at Cleveland. You're looking at New York, who's going to step back a little bit with the coach, but still be pretty damn good. We know Indiana is the real deal, like you said, because they have the large testicles. And we know Orlando's going to be good. So anything that he does has to look at those 4 teams, like I wrote in my Ask Ira today, and say, can we, with this move, Durant or someone else, finish better than the Knicks, finish better than the Cavaliers, finish better than the Pacers, finish better than the Magic? That's what the thought process would be. I know you're talking championships. I'm looking at a team that has won 1 playoff game in the last 2 years. The best way to win 2 playoff games or a series, have home court in the first round.
But I'm not talking championship now. I'm talking about if you want to win a championship, you need to tear it completely down so you can build it back up again the right way. The way you're doing it now, it's a Band-Aid. And just to add on this, why it's 50-50 now for Durant, I got to be honest here, Ira, and I hope you're honest too. The line standing to give Durant $125 million for 2 years is very, very tiny.
Because the teams that are linked, like San Antonio and Houston, have their youthful cores in place. And why change that timeline? The Miami Heat's timeline has always been now, whether Orlando Alzugaray likes it or not.
Okay, but what is apparently that's why I'm saying the Heat consistently are not taking the intelligent approach. And most are saying, nah, it's all right. Yeah, he was a hell of a player, but we're not going to, he's injury prone and he's 37 and we're going to be stuck with this year and 2 more years. No thanks. And that's what I'm saying as a Heat fan. No thanks, because to me, that's a progress stopper. Because if he starts getting injured, now you've got a big old $60 million chunk that's just sitting there doing nothing for you. I don't see this as a smart move in any way. And the only reason the Heat are actually a player, it's because very few teams are stupid enough to make this move.
Well, and I'm going to use an analogy that'll definitely get you to sign off this segment and to say it this way. I would rather have a quality, pre-owned, used Acura than a beater. So what I'm saying is, if you see a quality product out there, I think you make a move in that direction. And with that, thank you for this week's Acura of Pembroke Pines report.
My wife's RDX is 15 years old, and it runs a lot better.
She has the Kevin Durant of RDXs right there. Point made, I win.
And it doesn't break down like Durant does. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Got to push product. Thank you, Big O.
God, yes, you do. There you go. And of course, Acura of Pembroke Pines getting it done. Oh, baby, the ZDX get electrified. $439 a month right now. Take advantage. We've got all kinds of deals going on for you. That's why we tell you, get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. 17th anniversary sale going on. The Integra right now, $339 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The ZDX, like I told you, 0% financing for 72 months. The RDX, the one my wife drives, 4.9% financing for 60 months, only $419 a month. Check it out. They've got a fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles. We were there on Friday. The lot is overflowing. Larry Schlossberg and Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, all the amazing people. You own or lease one, go see Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber. They do an outstanding job at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.